The slap cracked through Edgewater Diner like a gunshot. Thomas Johnson's head snapped sideways. Coffee exploded across the table. Blood hit the worn wood dark drops mixing with the brown liquid. 81 years old, a veteran, slapped like a dog. Rick Doyle stood over him, hand still raised, badge glinting on his belt. Thomas wiped his mouth, looked up, said 5 words that would burn this town to the ground. My son arrives in 22 minutes. Hit that subscribe button right now. Stay until the end, you'll see justice like you've never seen it before. Drop your city in the comments. Let's see how far truth can travel. Now let me take you back to how it started. Thomas pushed through the diner door at 6:47 a.m., same as every morning for 30 years. Mr. Johnson, Linda already had the coffee pot in her hand. Linda? The usual please? He moved to his table, the one by the window, sat down, took off his cap, faded green army issue, and set it on the table beside him. Linda brought the coffee. Sugar, just a touch. You got it. She walked away. Thomas wrapped both hands around the cup, let the warmth seep into his old bones. Outside, the sun was trying to break through gray clouds, failing mostly. George sat 3 tables over, a newspaper spread wide. Morning, George? Thomas? George didn't look up, never did. Just that one-word acknowledgement. 30 years of morning, same exchange. In the corner, Miguel had his phone out. 16 years old. Earbuds in, probably watching some video his friends sent. Kid was always on that thing. The door opened. You want pancakes today, Mr. Johnson? Thomas started to answer. Then he heard it. The rumble hit his chest first. Deep, mechanical, growing, motorcycle engines, not one, multiple. Linda's hand froze, coffee pot tilted. Oh no, George's newspaper crinkled. He lowered it. Not today. Miguel yanked out one earbud. What's... The rumble became a roar. Thomas's fingers tightened on his cup. He knew that sound, knew it the way soldiers know incoming fire, the way you know danger before you see it. The engines cut. Silence. Thomas counted heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. Boots hit pavement outside. 4, 5, 6. The door slammed open. Wind first. Then the smell gasoline leather sweat. 6 men filled the doorway. Black jackets, steel-toed boots hitting the tile like hammers. Thud, thud, thud. Linda, the first one through, spread his arms wide. Baby, you miss me? Linda backed up. We're not open for... Looks open to me. He grinned, crooked teeth, tobacco-stained. Coffee, now. The others filed in behind him. Big men, hard men, the kind who'd spent years making people afraid. And at the center, the biggest one. Rick Doyle. He didn't swagger, didn't need to. Just walked and people moved. 6'3", shoulders like a bull. Face carved from granite and anger. Off-duty cop, on-duty terror. His eyes swept the room, landed on Thomas, stayed there. Thomas didn't look away. 60 years ago, in a jungle on fire, he'd stared down worse. He'd flown through storms of bullets, carried dying men through hell. A small-town cop didn't scare him. Should have, maybe. Doyle crossed the room, each step deliberate, designed to make people drop their eyes. Thomas took a sip of coffee. Doyle stopped at his table. That seat taken. Thomas set his cup down. Yes? Funny, I don't see nobody. That's because you're standing in front of it. Behind Doyle, one of the bikers laughed. Cut it off quick when Doyle's head turned. You got a smart mouth, old man. I've got a mouth that says true things. Doyle's jaw clenched. He pulled out the chair across from Thomas, sat down without asking, leaned back, boots up on the empty chair beside him. That cap. He nodded at the faded green army cap on the table. That's supposed to mean something. It means I served. So did my uncle. You don't see him wearing his cap to breakfast. Maybe he doesn't need to remember what it cost. Doyle's eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? Thomas picked up his coffee. It means what it means. You think that ragged piece of cloth gives you authority in here. I think it reminds me who I was when I earned it. George's newspaper rustled. Linda had stopped moving, entirely frozen behind the counter. Miguel slowly pulled out his other earbud. One of the biker's big guy, thick beard stepped closer. Yo, Doyle, this old... I sat in a helicopter seat before you were born. Thomas's voice didn't rise. Didn't need to. The room went still. Doyle blinked. What? Helicopter. Vietnam. I flew them. You were probably still swimming in your daddy's... I heard you. Doyle leaned forward. I heard you just fine. Then why'd you ask? Because I'm trying to figure out if you're stupid or suicidal. Thomas smiled. Slight? Sad? Sometimes they're the same thing. Doyle turned to his crew. You hear this old man thinks flying a helicopter 60 years ago makes him special. 53 years, Thomas corrected. And I never said special, I said I served. I've been on planes, flew to Vegas twice. What's the difference? About 14 men. What? 14 men I pulled out of fire zones. That's the difference between your Vegas trips and my service. The bearded biker Earl moved closer. His shadow fell across the table. You're just some useless old black... Careful. Thomas looked up at him at Poisquiadim. Finish that sentence, you can't take it back. Earl's mouth opened, closed. That's what I thought, Thomas said. Doyle slammed his palm on the table. Coffee jumped in the cup. You got some goddamn nerve. I've got exactly as much nerve as I earned. This is my town. This town doesn't belong to you. The hell it doesn't. This town belongs to everyone who bled to keep it standing. You just work here. I fought for it. George stood up, chair scraped loud. Mr. Johnson's right, Doyle. Doyle's head whipped around. Did I ask you, old man? No, but I'm telling you anyway. He's got more right to that seat than you'll ever have to that badge. Sit down. Or what? Doyle rose, slow, kept his eyes on George. Linda's voice cracked from behind the counter. Please, everyone, this is a diner, not... Shut up, Linda. She flinched. Thomas stood up, not fast. His knees didn't allow fast anymore, but he stood. Don't talk to her like that. Doyle turned back. What did you say? You heard me? Old man, you're about 5 seconds from a world of hurt. I've been to hurt before. It's got my address. Miguel's thumb moved, pressed the red button on his phone, started recording, hands shaking but steady enough. The screen showed 3 viewers, his girlfriend, 2 friends. Mr. Doyle? Earl's voice came out uncertain. Maybe we should what? Just leave it alone, man. Leave it alone? Doyle stepped closer to Thomas. This old bastard just disrespected me in front of everyone. He didn't. I said shut up, Earl. Earl's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Stepped back. Thomas looked at Earl. Held his gaze. Something passed between them. Recognition, maybe. Something old soldiers know without words. Doyle saw it. Hated it. You got something to say? Doyle grabbed the edge of Thomas's table. You got some war story that's supposed to scare me. I don't tell war stories. Why not ashamed? Because the people who need to hear them wouldn't understand, and the people who'd understand don't need to hear them. Doyle's face went red. You think you're better than me. I don't think about you at all. That did it. Doyle's hand shot out, grabbed Thomas's cap off the table, held it up. This what you're so proud of? Thomas's voice dropped. Put that down. Or what? Please? Ah, now he's begging? Doyle turned to his crew. Tough guy's begging. I'm asking. Not good enough. Doyle dropped the cap, let it fall to the floor. Then he kicked it, sent it sliding under another table. Thomas's face didn't change, but his eyes showed something breaking. He bent down, slow, every joint protesting, reached for his cap. That's when Doyle's hand came across his face. The slap sounded like a firecracker. Thomas's head snapped sideways. The coffee cup on the table tipped. Brown liquid rushed across the wood, dripped onto the floor, mixed with the blood that started running from the corner of Thomas's mouth. Linda screamed. George lunged forward. Earl caught him big hand on his chest. Don't get your hands off me. Sit down, old man. Miguel's phone screen showed 50 viewers, then 80, then 100. Comments started rolling. Is this real call of the cops? Oh my God. Thomas straightened slowly, blood on his lip, cap still on the floor. He looked at Doyle, didn't blink, didn't cry, didn't back down. You done? Thomas's voice came out steady. Doyle laughed. Am I done, old man? I'm just starting. Then you better finish quick. Why's that? Thomas wiped the blood from his mouth, looked at it on his fingers, red against brown skin. Because you've got 22 minutes to reconsider. The diner froze. George stopped struggling against Earl. Linda's hands went to her mouth. Miguel's phone almost slipped from his fingers. Doyle's grin faltered. What are 22 minutes? To reconsider what guilt? Everything you've done in the last 5 minutes. Doyle leaned down, face close, breath hot. You threatening me? Stating a fact. What happens in 22 minutes? Thomas bent down again, picked up his cap, brushed off the dirt, the coffee stain, set it back on his head. Then he looked up. My son will come. 3 words. Simple, final, absolute. Doyle burst out laughing. Your son, what's he gonna do, old man, cry with you? No. Then what? You'll see. I'm a cop. You understand that I am the law here. You're a man with a badge. There's a difference. Your son shows up, I'll arrest him for 21 minutes now. Doyle's smile died. Stop saying that. 21 minutes until my son arrives, then you can tell him why you slapped his father. George's voice cracked. Jesus, Thomas, your son's really... Thomas nodded. Once. What's he do? Linda whispered. Thomas didn't answer. Miguel read his comments out loud without thinking. Someone just posted, wait. Says here that's Captain Johnson's father. Everyone turned to look at the kid. What? Doyle snapped. Miguel's eyes went wide. Captain Marcus Johnson, U.S. Army. Someone saying, oh my God, is that true? Thomas still didn't answer. Just sat there. Blood drying on his lip, cap on his head, hands folded. Doyle looked around. Saw the phones coming out. Saw people recording, saw his crew looking uncertain. That's bullshit. Some internet rumor? It's not a rumor. George's voice shook. I've heard that name, Marcus Johnson. He's Thomas. Is that your boy? Thomas met his eyes, nodded. George sat down hard. Oh, Doyle, you stupid son of a bitch. You have no idea what you just did. I don't care if his son's the president. I'm a cop, and this old man threatened you. Thomas's eyebrow raised. I haven't threatened anyone. I just told you a fact. My son is coming. He'll be here in 20 minutes now. And then what? Then you can explain to him why there's blood on my face. Earl took a step back, then another. 2 other bikers followed him. Doyle saw it. Where are you going? Outside. Like hell you are. Doyle, man, I think... You don't think Imikoini? You do what I say. But Earl was already at the door. I've done a lot of things, but I'm not standing here when a man's son shows up to a scene like this. You're a coward. Earl pushed through the door. Gone. The other 2 bikers exchanged glances. Followed. Now it was just Doyle and 3 others, and the odds had shifted. The room could feel it. Miguel's screen showed 500 viewers, then 1,000, then 2,000. Comments flooded. Share this. Everyone share this. Now, that cop just assaulted a veteran? Doyle grabbed his phone, made a call, turned away from the table. Yeah, it's me. I need what? No, listen. Thomas sat quietly, took a sip of his coffee. It was cold now, mixed with blood in his mouth. He swallowed it anyway. Linda came over, tears running down her face. Mr. Johnson let me... I'm fine, Linda. You're bleeding. I've bled before. Should I call? No, he's already on his way. George leaned forward. Thomas, your son, he's really military. Yes. What rank it, Captain? Jesus. 18 minutes now. Doyle slammed his phone down. You know what I'm done with this. You want to sit here bleeding and making threats. Still not a threat. Then you sit here. I'm leaving. Thomas looked at him. No, you're not. Watch me. You walk out that door, 50,000 people will have seen you run. You stay, maybe you can control the story. You leave. Thomas gestured to all the phones pointed at them. You're finished. Doyle looked around, saw the cameras, the recording lights, the people watching through windows from outside. He sat back down. Smart, Thomas said. Don't talk to me. 17 minutes. Stop? 16 and a half now. Time moves quick when you're waiting. Doyle's hand trembled. You're insane. Maybe. War does that sometimes. I don't care about your war. You're about to. Miguel's screen showed 10,000 viewers. The video was being shared across platforms. Someone had posted it on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and then someone posted it. The photo. Old, grainy. Taken in 1972. A young black soldier, face covered in mud and blood. On his back, a white man wounded. Behind them, smoke and fire. Hell captured on film. The caption, Thomas Johnson. Saved my Uncle Dave in Vietnam. This is the man who just got slapped. The photo went viral in minutes. Shared 10,000 times. 100,000. More. George saw it on someone's phone. His face went white, then red. Then he stood up so fast his chair fell over. "You're hitting a goddamn hero!" The diner exploded in sound. Doyle spun. "What?" "That man," George pointed at Thomas. His hand shook so bad he could barely keep it steady. "That man saved my brother's life. My brother Frank, he was dying in that jungle and someone pulled him onto a helicopter. Someone defied orders. Someone risked everything." George's voice broke. "That someone was him, and you just slapped him. In front of God and everyone," Linda sobbed. Miguel's hands shook so bad the video went blurry. "That's..." Doyle looked at Thomas. "That's not..." "It's on camera," Miguel said. His voice cracked. "Everything. The slap, the blood, you kicking his cap. 50,000 people are watching right now." Doyle stood up, sat down, stood up again. This isn't..." 14 minutes, Thomas said quietly. "Stop saying that." 13 and a half now. Doyle looked at his remaining crew. "We're leaving." "You already tried that," Thomas said. "I'm a cop. I can arrest you for what? Sitting in a diner, drinking coffee, getting assaulted. You were threatening." "I stated a fact. My son is coming. Is that illegal?" Doyle had no answer. Outside, the sound started. At first, faint. Distant. Then closer. Louder. Not motorcycles this time. Something heavier. Deeper. Thomas closed his eyes. Breathed out. Linda's coffee pot slipped from her hand. Shattered on the floor. She didn't notice. George gripped the table. "That's Bifco military trucks," Thomas said. "Diesel engines. M939 series if I'm not mistaken." The rumble grew, became a roar. Doyle went pale. "That's not... they can't..." 12 minutes, Thomas said. "I was wrong. Traffic must have been light." Miguel swung his camera toward the window. The glass fogged from everyone's breathing. But through it, shapes appeared. Big shapes. Green shapes. Military trucks. "Oh my God," Linda whispered. George stood, hand over his heart. "Holy Mary Mother of..." The engines cut. Silence. More terrible than the sound had been. Doors opened. Boots hit pavement. Synchronized. Disciplined. Thud, 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 thud. Doyle backed up. "This isn't the military, can't..." The diner door opened, and Marcus Johnson walked in. He wore full dress uniform, captain's bars on his shoulders, chest full of ribbons, eyes like cold fire. Behind him through the open door at least 20 soldiers, all in formation, all standing at attention, all waiting. The diner went silent. Marcus's eyes swept the room. Saw the overturned coffee, saw the blood on the table, saw his father, his jaw locked. He crossed the room in 4 strides, knelt beside Thomas, put one hand on his father's shoulder, the other gently touched the swelling on his face. "Dad?" One word, a lifetime in it. Thomas smiled. "You're late." "Traffic?" "I told him 12 minutes. "Took me 13, sorry." "You're forgiven." Marcus stood, turned, looked at Doyle. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. "You." Marcus's voice was quiet, controlled. "You just slapped the face of America." Doyle opened his mouth. Nothing came out. "You put your hands on an 81-year-old veteran." Marcus took a step forward. "A man who saved 14 soldiers under enemy fire. A man who earned the right to wear that cap through blood and sacrifice." Another step. "You stomped on his cap. I saw it. 100,000 people saw it. By tomorrow morning, the whole country will have seen it." Another step. Now they were face to face. "And you did it because you thought you could. Because you've been doing it for years. Because nobody stopped you." Marcus's voice dropped even lower. "That ends. Right now. Today." Doyle tried to speak. "You can't... the military has no authority over..." "I'm not here as military." Marcus reached into his jacket. Doyle flinched. Marcus pulled out a folder. Thick. Official. Department of Justice. Federal investigation into the Edgewater Police Department. Specifically protection of known criminals. Bribery, falsification of evidence, civil rights violations. He opened the folder. "Your name is on page 1, Officer Doyle, and page 3, and page 7. Want me to keep going?" Doyle's face went from red to white. "I didn't come here to threaten you," Marcus said. I came to tell you that everyone who protected you is done. Your Chief Briggs. Councilman Grayson, everyone who helped you cover your crimes, they're all in here. A woman in a dark suit walked through the door, federal credentials in her hand. Officer Doyle, I'm Assistant U.S. Attorney Amelia Ross. You're under investigation for assault, abuse of power, and civil rights violations. You'll be hearing from us very, very soon. Doyle looked around wildly, at his remaining crew, at the door, at the 100 phones recording every second. No escape, no way out. Marcus turned back to his father, helped him stand. Let's go home, Dad. Thomas looked at Linda. Thank you for the coffee. She burst into tears. He looked at George. You were right to stand up. George couldn't speak, just nodded. He looked at Miguel. Young man, keep recording. Keep telling the truth. Miguel's voice shook. You just changed history, Thomas said. Don't stop now. Father and son walked to the door. The soldiers parted, made a corridor. Thomas stopped at the threshold, turned back, looked at Doyle one last time. 22 minutes, he said. That's all it took. Then he stepped into the morning light. Miguel's video hit 1 million views by noon, 5 million by midnight, 10 million by sunrise. The networks picked it up. Civil rights organizations issued statements. Veterans groups mobilized. And in every comment section, every share, every repost, the same 3 words appeared. 22 minutes. That's how long it took between the slap and justice arriving. That's how long it took for one old man's dignity to shake an entire nation. That's how long it took for the truth to find its voice. 22 minutes. And Rick Doyle's world would never be the same. None of their worlds would. Because that morning in Edgewater Diner, something shifted. Something broke open. Something that had been buried for decades finally saw light. And once you crack that kind of darkness, once you let truth in, there's no sealing it back up. The dam had broken, and the flood was coming. The truck rolled through Edgewater's streets in silence. Thomas sat in the passenger seat, hand pressed against the window. His reflection stared back, old swollen face, dried blood at the corner of his mouth. Marcus kept both hands on the wheel, knuckles white. You should have called me sooner. I called you exactly when I needed to. Dad, he hit you. And you came. That's what matters. Marcus's jaw worked. If I'd been 5 minutes later, you weren't. The truck pulled into the driveway. Small house, peeling paint, grass too long. Thomas had lived here alone since Marcus's mother passed. 8 years now. Marcus killed the engine. Neither moved. I need to see it, Marcus said. See the rest, the damage. Thomas touched his face, winced. It's just a slap. Nothing about this is just anything. Inside, Marcus made his father sit, got ice from the freezer, wrapped it in a dish towel, pressed it gently against Thomas's cheek. Hold that there. Thomas took the ice. You're fussing. I'm doing my job. Your job is the Army. My job is you first, Army second. Thomas smiled. It hurt. When'd you get so stubborn? Learned from the best. Marcus's phone buzzed. Then again, then it didn't stop. He pulled it out. Screen lit up with notifications, texts, calls, emails. It's everywhere, Marcus said. The video, it's Dad, 10 million views. Thomas said nothing. National news is calling, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, they all want interviews. No. Dad, I said no. Marcus sat down across from him. This could help. Your story. My story is mine, not theirs. But people need to hear. They've already heard enough. Thomas lowered the ice. I didn't ask for this. I just wanted my coffee. And Doyle took that choice away when he put his hands on you. So now I give away more, my privacy, my peace, no. Marcus's phone rang. He ignored it. It rang again. Answer it, Thomas said. It can wait. Marcus answered. Captain Johnson. A woman's voice came through. Sharp, urgent. Captain, this is Attorney Ross. We need to talk, now. I'm with my father. I know, that's why I'm calling. We're moving fast on this. The video gives us probable cause for immediate action, but we need your father's statement tonight. Marcus looked at Thomas. He's been through enough today. I understand, but Doyle's people are already moving. Chief Briggs made 3 calls in the last hour. One to the mayor, one to a lawyer, one to someone we can't trace yet. What does that mean? It means they're scared, and scared people do desperate things. Your father needs protection. He's got it. I'm here. With respect, Captain, you're one man. We can have federal marshals there in an hour. Thomas reached for the phone. Marcus handed it to him. "This is Thomas Johnson." "Mr. Johnson, I'm Amelia Ross. I'm going to make sure Officer Doyle pays for what he did." "Appreciate it. But I need your help. I need you to come in, give a formal statement. Let us document your injuries." "My son already took pictures." "That's good, but we need medical records. Official documentation, a statement on record." Thomas closed his eyes. "When?" "Tonight. I know it's asking a lot." "What time?" 9 p.m., Federal Building downtown. We'll have security. You'll be safe." "I'll be there." He hung up. Marcus leaned forward. "Dad, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. You're exhausted. You're hurt. And that man is still walking free." Thomas set the phone down. "I didn't survive Vietnam to let some small-town thug think he can put his hands on me without consequences." Marcus nodded slowly. "Okay, then I'm coming with you." "Wouldn't have it any other way." Across town, in a wood-paneled office that smelled like cigars and old leather, Chief Howard Briggs paced behind his desk. Phone pressed to his ear. "I don't care what it takes. Shut it down." The voice on the other end was calm. Too calm. "The video's already out there, Howard. We can't shut down the internet." "Then spin it. Say the old man started it. Say Doyle was defending himself." "Defending himself from an 81-year-old man? I don't know, make something up. That's what we pay you for." "Silence, then. We're past spin now. This is damage control. Federal level." Briggs stopped pacing. "Federal. DOJ's involved. Attorney Ross called my office an hour ago. She's building a case." "On what grounds?" "Civil rights violations, assault. And that's just the start. If they dig deeper, they won't." "Howard, they already are." Briggs sat down hard. His chair creaked. "What do they have?" "Everything we buried. The Reynolds case. The Garcia incident. That thing with the kid last summer. Those files were sealed. Someone unsealed them." Briggs's hand tightened on the phone. "Who?" "If I had to guess, someone inside. Someone who got tired of looking the other way." "That's impossible. My people are loyal." "Your people are scared. And scared people talk." The line went dead. Briggs threw the phone. It hit the wall. Cracked. Battery fell out. The door opened. Doyle walked in. Face pale. Hands shaking. "Chief, we need to..." "Sit down and shut up." Doyle sat. Briggs pointed at him. "You stupid son of a bitch. You just couldn't leave it alone." "He disrespected me." "He's an old man drinking coffee. You turned a nothing into a national incident." "I didn't know his son was..." "His son doesn't matter. You assaulted a veteran on camera in front of witnesses. What the hell were you thinking?" Doyle's voice rose. "I was thinking he needed to learn his place." The words hung in the air. Briggs's eyes narrowed. "His place?" "Yeah, his..." Doyle stopped. "Hurt himself." "I didn't mean..." "Yes, you did. And now the whole country heard it. It's not on the video. It's in your eyes, Rick. In every goddamn frame. Everyone can see what you are." Doyle stood. "What I am, I'm a cop. You've given this town a black eye, literally." "So what do we do?" Briggs leaned back, rubbed his face. "We lawyer up. We say he was aggressive. We say you felt threatened." "Will that work?" "No, but it's all we've got." Miguel sat in his bedroom, phone plugged into his computer. His mother knocked on the door. "Mijo, dinner." "Not hungry." "You need to eat." "Mom, please, I'm busy." She opened the door anyway, saw his screen, saw the video now at 15 million views. "Dios mío, that's... you took that." "Yeah?" She sat on his bed. "Are you okay?" "I don't know." His voice cracked. "Mom, I was recording. I didn't think..." "You did the right thing." "Did I?" "Because now Mr. Johnson's all over the news, and people are threatening me. Look." He showed her his phone. Messages. Hundreds. Some supportive. Some angry. Some terrifying. "You're dead, kid. Hope your house burns down. Should have minded your business." His mother's hand went to her mouth. "Miguel, we need to call the police." "The police, Mom? The guy who slapped Mr. Johnson is the police." "Then we call someone else. FBI. Someone." Miguel's phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. "Hello. Is this Miguel Hernandez?" "Who's asking?" "My name is Clara James. I'm a journalist with the Tribune. I saw your video." "Everyone saw my video." "I want to tell the full story, not just what happened in the diner, the history, the pattern. Doyle's been doing this for years." So tell it. I need help. I need sources. I need someone brave enough to go on record. Miguel looked at his mother. She nodded. What do you need me to do? Linda stood in her kitchen hands, shaking as she poured herself tea. Her phone rang for the 30th time. She'd stopped answering. Her husband walked in. You need to talk to them eventually. I need them to leave me alone. Linda, you're a witness? I'm a waitress. I serve coffee. I don't... Her voice broke. I don't know how to do this. He put his arms around her. You already did it. You stood up when it mattered. And now they're calling me brave. Me. I wanted to hide under the counter. But you didn't. Only because I was too scared to move. The doorbell rang. They both froze. Don't answer it, Linda whispered. We have to. He went to the door, checked the peephole, turned back. It's a woman, has credentials. What kind of federal? Linda's heart jumped. Oh, God. He opened the door. Attorney Ross stood on the porch. Mrs. Linda Martinez. Yes? I need 10 minutes of your time. I already told the police everything. I'm not the police, and I'm not here to pressure you. I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. Linda's eyes filled. I don't feel alone. I feel exposed. I understand. But Mrs. Martinez, what you witnessed today, what you stood up against, that matters. And I need to know if you're willing to testify, formally, in court. Linda looked at her husband. He squeezed her hand. Will I be safe? I can't promise you won't face backlash. People are already choosing sides. But I can promise you protection, and I can promise that your testimony will help make sure Doyle never wears a badge again. What if I say no? Then you say no. No judgment, no pressure. Linda took a breath. When do you need to know? I need to know now. George drove his old Chevy through downtown, past the federal building, saw the news vans, kept driving. His phone rang. His daughter. Dad, where are you? Driving. Have you seen the news? Everyone's seen the news. They're talking about you, about what you said in the diner. What about it? Dad, people are calling you a hero. George laughed. Bitter. Hero, I'm a coward who finally found his spine. You stood up when it mattered. 50 years too late. What? He pulled over, killed the engine, sat in silence. Dad? I knew, George said. About Doyle, about Briggs, about all of it. I've known for years. Known what? That they were dirty, that they hurt people, that they got away with it because nobody stopped them. His daughter said nothing. I saw Doyle beat a kid outside a bar 3 years ago. Kid didn't do anything, just looked at Doyle wrong, and His voice cracked. I walked away, told myself it wasn't my business. Dad? And last year, the Reynolds family. You remember them? Their son got arrested, evidence got lost, case dismissed. Everyone knew Doyle planted that evidence. Everyone knew, and nobody said anything, including me. You were scared. Being scared doesn't make it right. He wiped his eyes. Thomas Johnson bled for this country, and I've been too scared to even speak up in my own town. So no, sweetheart. I'm not a hero. I'm just a man who's ashamed it took seeing an old veteran get slapped to finally find his courage. So what are you going to... George looked at the federal building in his rearview mirror. I'm going to fix it. He hung up, started the engine, made a U-turn. At 8:45 p.m., Thomas and Marcus walked into the federal building. Security met them at the door. Metal detectors, ID checks. Then an escort to the 3rd floor. Attorney Ross waited in a conference room. Mr. Johnson, thank you for coming. Thomas nodded. We'll make this as quick as possible. I need you to walk me through everything. Start to finish. Don't leave anything out. Thomas sat, Marcus beside him. Where do you want me to start? When did you first see Officer Doyle today? Thomas closed his eyes, went back. 6:52 a.m. I was drinking my coffee. He told it all, every word, every gesture, the cap, the slap, the blood. Ross took notes, recorder running. And when he hit you, what did you feel? Thomas paused. You mean physically or... I mean emotionally. I felt old. Ross's pen stopped. I felt like I was 23 again, being called boy by people who didn't respect me. I felt like all the years since all the service, all the sacrifice didn't matter, because to him I was just an old black man who needed to know his place. The words hung heavy. But then, Thomas continued, I felt something else. What? Clarity, because I knew my son would come. and I knew that man had just made the worst mistake of his life. Ross nodded slowly. "Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That's exactly what I needed to hear." The door opened. A young agent rushed in, whispered to Ross. Her face changed. "What?" Marcus asked. Ross looked at Thomas. "We just got word. Chief Briggs is calling a press conference tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. "What for?" "To defend Doyle, to claim your father was the aggressor?" Marcus stood. "That's a lie." "I know it is, but it's a lie that will get airtime, and once it's out there, we fight back," Thomas said quietly. Everyone turned to him. "How?" Ross asked. "You want my story. You want me to talk." Thomas looked at Marcus, then at Ross. "Then get me on TV, same time as Briggs. Let America decide who to believe." Earl sat in his apartment bottle in one hand, phone in the other. The video played on repeat. He'd watched it 100 times, saw himself standing there doing nothing. His phone rang. Unknown number. "Yeah. Earl Carter. Who wants to know?" "My name is Clara James. I'm a journalist. I'm looking into Officer Doyle's history. I heard you were part of his crew." Earl's stomach dropped. "I don't talk to reporters." "I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to talk to the feds." "Why would I do that?" "Because you're a veteran, because you know what that cap means, and because I think you're tired of being on the wrong side." Earl said nothing. "I checked your record," Clara continued. "Honorable discharge, 2 tours, Purple Heart. You're not like them, Earl. You just got lost." "You don't know anything about me?" "Then tell me I'm wrong." Silence. "Earl, I've got files. I've got proof that Doyle's been protected for years, but proof isn't enough. I need someone inside, someone who can testify to how deep this goes." "And you think that's me?" "I know it is, because I saw your face in that diner. When Thomas Johnson stood up to Doyle, you recognized something, didn't you?" Earl closed his eyes. "Yeah, I recognized a soldier." "So help him. Help yourself. Do the right thing while there's still time. They'll kill me. You understand that, Briggs Grayson, they won't let me walk away. Then don't walk. Run. Run straight to the feds and let them protect you." Earl looked at the bottle in his hand, set it down. "If I do this, if I talk, I want something. Name it. I want to look Thomas Johnson in the eye. I want to apologize, face to face." Clara's voice softened. "I'll make it happen." That night, Miguel couldn't sleep. He lay in bed scrolling through comments, reading messages, some good, most bad. His phone buzzed. "Clara James, meet me tomorrow, 7 a.m., Edgewater Diner. Bring your footage, all of it." Miguel texted back, "Why? Because we're going to war, and we need every weapon we have." He stared at the message, then heard something outside. A car. Engine idling, right in front of his house. Miguel got up, looked through the window. Black sedan, tinted windows. Just sitting there. His heart pounded. The car's headlights flashed. Once. Twice. Then it drove away. Miguel grabbed his phone. Called Clara. "Someone was just outside my house. Are you okay?" "They didn't do anything. Just they wanted me to know they were there." "Pack a bag. I'm sending someone to get you." "What? No, Miguel, they know where you live. They know you're the one who filmed it. You're not safe there." "Where am I supposed to go?" "Somewhere they can't touch you. Trust me." Miguel looked at his mother sleeping down the hall. "What about my mom?" "She comes too, both of you. 10 minutes. "Clara, 10 minutes, Miguel, or I can't promise what happens next." The line went dead. Miguel stood in the dark, hands shaking. Then he started packing. At midnight, Officer Daniel Cross sat in his car outside the police station. Radio on, volume low, listening to dispatch. His phone buzzed. Text from a blocked number. "You can still walk away." He deleted it. Another text. "Your wife, your kids, think about them." His jaw clenched. Another text. "Last chance, Daniel." He turned off his phone, got out of the car, walked into the station. Briggs sat at his desk, looked up. "Cross, what are you doing here? I need to talk to you." "It's midnight." "I know what time it is." Briggs leaned back. "So talk." Daniel pulled a folder from his jacket, set it on the desk. "What's this?" "My resignation." Briggs didn't touch it. "You're quitting. Effective immediately." "Because of Doyle." "Because of all of it." "All of what?" "You know what." Daniel's voice shook. "The cases we buried, the complaints we lost, the people we failed. We're police. We make tough calls. We made criminal calls, and I'm done being part of it." Briggs stood. You walk out that door, you'll never work in law enforcement again. Good. I'll make sure of it. I'll blackball you, ruin your reputation. You can't ruin what's already gone. Daniel turned to leave. Cross. He stopped. Briggs's voice dropped. You talk to anyone, the feds, the press, anyone, I'll make sure you regret it. Your family will regret it. Daniel turned back, looked Briggs in the eye. That sounds like a threat, Chief. It's a promise. Daniel pulled out his phone. Hit play. His voice came through the speaker. I need to talk to you. Briggs's voice, so talk. The whole conversation, recorded. Briggs went pale. You'll make sure I regret it. Daniel's hand didn't shake anymore. No, Chief, you're going to regret that I gave you a chance to do the right thing. He walked out, drove straight to the federal building. Attorney Ross met him at the door, 2 a.m. Officer Cross. Former officer, as of tonight. I heard you might come. From who? Someone who believed you still had a conscience. She held the door open. Come in, we have a lot to talk about. Dawn broke over Edgewater. Thomas stood on his porch, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise. Marcus joined him. Couldn't sleep. Slept fine. Liar. Thomas smiled. Okay, maybe an hour. 2 at most. You thinking about today? Thinking about all of it? Dad, you don't have to do the press conference. We can find another way. There is no other way. Thomas sipped his coffee. Briggs is going to lie. The only way to fight a lie is with truth. What if people don't believe you? Then they don't, but at least I said it. Marcus's phone buzzed. He read the message. Face changed. What? Clara James. She says she's got something. Something big. What kind of something? She didn't say, just said to meet her at the diner, 7 a.m. Thomas set down his coffee. Then we better get moving. They drove through empty streets. Edgewater looked different in the morning light. Smaller, more fragile. The diner was closed, dark inside. But Clara's car sat in the parking lot. They got out. Clara met them at the door. Mr. Johnson, Captain? She unlocked the door. Come in? Inside, 3 people waited. Linda, George, Miguel, and Earl. Thomas stopped, looked at the big biker. Earl stood. Mr. Johnson, his voice broke. I need to say something. Thomas said nothing. I was wrong. To stand there. To let it happen. To not... Earl's hands shook. I was a soldier once, just like you, and I forgot what that meant. I forgot what honor is. He pulled something from his pocket. A medal. Bronze star. I earned this in Iraq. Thought it made me something special. But yesterday, watching you sit there bleeding, still proud, still strong, I realized I hadn't earned anything. Because when it mattered, I was a coward. Earl set the medal on the table. I'm going to testify. Against Doyle. Against Briggs. Against all of them. I'm going to tell everything I know. And I know a lot. Thomas looked at the medal. Then at Earl. Keep it. Sir, that medal, you earned it. What you did wrong, that's not who you were then. And it's not who you're choosing to be now. Earl's eyes filled. Thomas picked up the medal, held it out. Take it. And remember why you got it. Then help me make sure men like Doyle can't hurt anyone else. Earl took the medal, nodded, couldn't speak. Clara stepped forward. We have 3 hours before Briggs's press conference, and I have a plan. She spread documents across a table. These are files, cases, complaints, all buried by Briggs and his people, all involving Doyle, some going back 15 years. Thomas leaned closer. Where'd you get these? Someone inside, someone who's been keeping records, waiting for the right moment. Who? The diner door opened. Officer Daniel Cross walked in, still in uniform, eyes red from lack of sleep. I did, but, he said, I kept everything. Every file they tried to bury. Every complaint they lost. Every piece of evidence they destroyed. He looked at Thomas. I was wrong to wait this long, but I'm done waiting. Clara smiled. Now we have witnesses. We have evidence. We have everything we need to destroy them. Except one thing, Marcus said. Everyone turned. We need the public to see it, all of it, before Briggs can spin his lie. Miguel stepped forward, phone in hand. I can do that? How does? Go live, right now. Show everything. The files, the witnesses, all of it. Stream it to everyone. Make it so they can't ignore it. Thomas looked at the kid. You sure about this? Mr. Johnson, they came to my house last night. They threatened my mom. They're trying to scare me into silence." Miguel's jaw set. "But I'm not scared anymore. I'm angry, and I'm ready to fight back." Thomas nodded. "Then let's give them a war they'll never forget." At 8:45 a.m., Chief Briggs stood in the police station's press room. Cameras everywhere. Reporters packed in. He adjusted his uniform, cleared his throat. At the same moment across town, Miguel went live. The stream started with Thomas's face. "My name is Thomas Johnson. I'm 81 years old. I'm a veteran, and yesterday a police officer assaulted me for no reason other than the color of my skin." View count climbed. 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. But this isn't about me. This is about a system that's been broken for years. And today we're going to show you exactly how broken it is. Clara appeared on screen. Started showing files, reading names, dates, cases. Maria Reynolds, assaulted by Officer Doyle. Case dismissed. Carlos Garcia, falsely arrested. Evidence planted. Case buried. Jason Williams, age 16, beaten, no charges filed. The view count exploded. 50,000. 100,000. Briggs started his press conference. Yesterday's incident has been blown out of proportion by social media and biased reporting, but nobody was watching. Everyone was watching Miguel's stream, where Earl now appeared. "My name is Earl Carter. I was part of Doyle's crew, and I'm here to tell you everything." He talked. Names, dates, bribes, cover-ups. Linda appeared. "I've worked at that diner for 20 years. I've seen him hurt people. I've seen him walk away every time, and I stayed silent because I was afraid." George appeared. "I watched him beat a young man outside a bar. Did nothing. I'm done doing nothing." Officer Cross appeared, still in uniform. "I'm a cop, and I'm telling you the system is rigged, has been for years, but today we're tearing it down." The stream hit 500,000 viewers, 1 million, 2 million. Briggs kept talking to his shrinking audience. Officer Doyle acted in self-defense, but his words were drowned out by the truth flooding across every screen in America. At 9:30 a.m., Attorney Ross walked into the federal building with a file 2 inches thick. By 10 a.m., arrest warrants were issued. Officer Rick Doyle, assault, civil rights violations, Chief Howard Briggs, obstruction of justice, conspiracy, Councilman Charles Grayson, bribery, racketeering, 7 other officers, various charges. The news spread like wildfire. By noon, federal agents were making arrests. Doyle tried to run, made it 3 blocks before they caught him. Briggs locked himself in his office. They broke down the door. Grayson called his lawyer, who told him there was nothing he could do. The system that had protected them for decades collapsed in a single morning. And it all started with one old man who refused to back down, who counted down 22 minutes, who believed his son would come, who was right. That evening, Thomas sat on his porch, Marcus beside him. "They're calling you a hero, Dicko," Marcus said. "I'm not a hero. I'm just tired of being afraid." "You changed everything, Dad." "We changed everything, all of us." His phone rang. Thomas answered. "Mr. Johnson, this is the Pentagon. We'd like to discuss awarding you the Medal of Honor, the one that should have been yours in 1974. Thomas closed his eyes. "Took you long enough." "We know, and we're sorry, but we'd like to make it right." "When?" "Next month. Full ceremony, if you'll accept." Thomas looked at Marcus, at the son who came when he called. "I'll accept, on one condition." "Name it." "My son pins it on, nobody else." Silence. "Then we can arrange that." Thomas hung up. Marcus's eyes were wet. "Dad?" 22 minutes, Thomas said. "That's all it took to change 50 years of wrong. 22 minutes to prove that truth wins, that justice comes, that family shows up." He stood, extended his hand to his son. "Thank you for coming when I called." Marcus took his hand, pulled him into a hug. "Always Dad, every time, for the rest of my life." They stood there as the sun set over Edgewater, a town that would never be the same. Because one man decided that dignity matters more than safety, that truth matters more than peace, that sometimes all you need is 22 minutes and the courage to count them down. 3 days after the arrest, Thomas woke to find news vans parked outside his house. 6 of them. Satellite dishes pointed at the sky like accusations. Marcus was already up, on the phone, voice tight. "I don't care what they want. The answer is no." He hung up. Saw Thomas in the doorway. "Morning, Dad." "Who was that?" "CNN. Again. 5th call this morning." Thomas moved to the window, peered through the curtain. They're not leaving, are they? Doesn't look like it. What do they want? Marcus poured coffee. He handed a cup to his father. Everything. Your story, your life. They want you on every show from here to California. And you told them. I told them you're not a circus act. Thomas sipped the coffee. Too hot. He blew on it. Maybe I should talk to them. Marcus's head snapped up. What? Just one. Get it over with. Dad, these people, they'll twist your words, make you into something you're not. Or maybe they'll just let me tell the truth. And if they don't, Thomas set down his cup, then at least I tried. Before Marcus could respond, someone knocked, hard, urgent. Marcus opened the door. Clara stood there, hair wild, eyes bright. Have you seen this? She thrust her phone at them. The screen showed a news article. Headline in bold, Senator Grayson attempts suicide in custody. Marcus grabbed the phone, read fast. Is he alive? Barely. They found him in his cell, bedsheet around his neck. Thomas took the phone. Scanned the article. Says here he left a note. He did? Clara pulled out a folded paper. Photocopy. I have a source in the federal building. They sent me this an hour ago somehow. She unfolded it, read aloud. I can't live with what I've done. I can't face what's coming. To everyone I hurt, I'm sorry. To Thomas Johnson, you were right. I was wrong, and I'm too much of a coward to face you. The room went silent. Marcus spoke first. He tried to take the easy way out. And failed, Clara said, which means he's going to talk. He's going to cut a deal, and when he does, he'll burn everyone, Thomas finished. Exactly. Thomas handed back the phone. Good. Good. Marcus turned. Dad, this man tried to kill himself rather than face justice. That's not good. That's a man realizing he destroyed lives and can't live with himself. I don't celebrate it, but I won't mourn it either. Clara's phone rang. She answered, listened, face changed. When, pause, I'll be right there. She hung up. That was Attorney Ross. Grayson's lawyer just called. He wants to make a deal. Full cooperation, names, dates, everything. In exchange for what? Reduced sentence, protective custody. Marcus shook his head. They're going to let him off easy. No, Clara's voice was firm. They're going to use him to catch bigger fish. Ross says Grayson's network goes beyond Edgewater, state level, maybe higher. Thomas moved to the window again. The news vans were multiplying. 8 now. 10. How long before they find out about this? They probably already know, Clara said. Which means you need to make a decision. Fast. What decision? Whether you tell your story on your terms, or let them tell it for you. Thomas watched a reporter adjust her makeup in a car mirror, practicing her concerned face, getting ready to perform. Set up the interview, he said. But I pick who and I pick when, and Marcus stays with me the whole time. Clara nodded. I know someone. Good journalist. Won't exploit you. Can you do it today? Why today? Because Briggs goes before a judge tomorrow, and if you speak first, if you set the narrative, he can't spin it. Thomas looked at Marcus. What do you think? I think you're going to do what you want, regardless of what I think. That's not an answer. Marcus sighed. I think if you're going to do this, we do it right, full control, nothing they can twist. Then call your journalist, Thomas said to Clara. Tell her she's got 2 hours. After that, I'm done talking. The interview happened in Thomas's living room. Small crew, 1 camera. Journalist named Sarah Chen, mid-40s, kind eyes. Recording equipment scattered across the coffee table. Sarah sat across from Thomas. Thank you for doing this. Don't thank me yet. You might not like what I say. She smiled. Try me. The camera light turned red. Mr. Johnson, 3 days ago, a video of you being assaulted went viral. 20 million views and counting. How does that feel? Thomas paused. Feels like the world's watching something I wish never happened. Do you regret going to the diner that morning? I regret that man thought he could put his hands on me, but no, I don't regret being there. Why not? Because if it didn't happen to me, it would have happened to someone else. And maybe they wouldn't have had a son who could come. Maybe they wouldn't have had people who believed them. Maybe they would have just, his voice caught, disappeared into the system, like so many others have. Sarah leaned forward. You're talking about other victims. I'm talking about a pattern. This wasn't one bad day. This was years of bad days that nobody stopped. Were you scared when Officer Doyle hit you? Thomas met her eyes. I was sad. Sad. Sad that after everything, after Vietnam, after fighting for this country, I still had to fight for basic respect in a diner. What went through your mind when you said 22 minutes? I thought about my son, about the man he'd become, and I thought if I can just hold on for 22 minutes, he'll make this right. And he did. He did. Sarah glanced at her notes. There's been some controversy, people saying you're being used by activists, that this is politically motivated. Thomas's jaw tightened. Let me be clear. Nobody used me. I'm not anyone's symbol. I'm not anyone's cause. I'm a man who got slapped for drinking coffee, and I decided not to stay quiet about it. What do you want people to understand about that day? I want them to understand that dignity isn't negotiable. You don't earn it. You have it. And nobody, cop or not, has the right to take it away. Marcus watched from behind the camera, saw his father's hands shake, saw him push through anyway. Sarah asked, what happens now to you, to your family? Now we wait for justice, real justice, not the kind that gets buried in paperwork. Are you afraid of retaliation? Every day of my life I've been afraid of something, but I'm more afraid of silence than I am of speaking up. The interview lasted 90 minutes. When it ended, Sarah stood, shook Thomas's hand. That was powerful. Thank you. When does it air? Tonight, 6 p.m., national broadcast. After she left, Marcus sat beside his father. You okay? Tired? You did good, Dad. We'll see. That afternoon, Thomas tried to nap. Couldn't. His mind kept replaying the slap, the blood, Doyle's face. His phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Hello. Mr. Johnson. A woman's voice, shaking. You don't know me. My name is Maria Reynolds. Thomas sat up. You're one of the victims. From the files. Yes, I saw the news. I saw you speaking up, and She broke down crying. I never thought anyone would believe me. When Doyle hurt me when I reported it, they said I was lying. They said I provoked him. I'm sorry that happened to you. I wanted to call and say thank you, for not staying silent, for making them listen. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. Because of you, they're reopening my case. The federal prosecutor called this morning. She said they're going to investigate everything. All of us. Everyone Doyle hurt. Thomas's chest tightened. How many what? How many people did he hurt? Silence. Then, the prosecutor said they've identified 43 cases so far. 43 people. And those are just the ones who reported it. God knows how many others stayed silent. Thomas closed his eyes. 43. Mr. Johnson, you saved us. You saved all of us by refusing to let them bury one more case. After she hung up, Thomas sat in silence. Marcus found him there an hour later, staring at nothing. Dad, 43 people. What? Doyle hurt 43 people that they know of. Thomas looked at his son. 43 lives he damaged because nobody stopped him. You stopped him. Too late. I stopped him too late. No. Marcus knelt in front of his father. You stopped him exactly when you were supposed to. Maybe it took 43 victims. Maybe it took a viral video, but you stopped him. And now all those people get their day in court. Thomas's phone rang again and again and again. More victims calling to say thank you. Calling to share their stories. Calling to say they finally believed justice was possible. By evening, Thomas had spoken to 11 people, 11 lives shattered by the same man who'd slapped him in a diner. He was exhausted, emotionally drained, but he took every call because they needed to be heard, and he needed to hear them. At 6 p.m., the interview aired. Millions watched. Social media exploded. But something else happened. At 6:37 p.m. in a federal holding cell, Charles Grayson called for a guard. I need to talk to Attorney Ross now. Tell her I'm ready. 40 minutes later, Ross sat across from Grayson in an interrogation room. Recorder running, his lawyer beside him. You ready to talk? Ross asked. I'll give you everything, every name, every payment, every cover-up. In exchange for 20 years, not life, and I want protective custody. Ross shook her head. Life's not on the table anyway. You're not the killer here. But I'm not negotiating terms until I know what you have. Grayson leaned forward. You want to know how deep this goes? I'm listening. Briggs was small time. Edgewater was a testing ground. For what? For a network. Cops, politicians, business owners, all working together, protecting each other. We started in Edgewater because it's small. Nobody pays attention, but it worked so well. He paused. We expanded. Ross's pen stopped. Expanded where to? 3 other towns? Same setup? Different players, same system. Names. I'll give you names, I'll give you bank records, I'll give you everything, but I want that deal in writing first. Ross stood. You'll get your deal, but if you're lying, if even one thing you tell me doesn't check out, it'll check out, all of it. She left the room. Called her supervisor. Within an hour, the deal was approved. Grayson talked for 6 hours straight. Named 17 corrupt cops. 8 politicians, 12 business owners. Detailed a network that had operated for 15 years. All of it recorded. All of it documented. All of it admissible in court. By midnight, federal agents were mobilizing, preparing for raids across 4 counties, and it all started because an old man in a diner refused to stay silent. The next morning, Thomas woke to his phone ringing. Attorney Ross. Mr. Johnson, I need you to hear something. What is it? We arrested 9 more people last night because of Grayson's testimony, and I need you to understand none of this would have happened without you. I just helped us. You just started an avalanche. These people operated for 15 years thinking they were untouchable. You touched them, you broke them, and now they're all falling. Thomas didn't know what to say. There's something else, Ross continued. We found evidence that Doyle was planning to leave the country. He had tickets, fake passport. He was going to run. When, next week, if your video hadn't gone viral, if we hadn't moved fast, he'd be gone. And he'd have gotten away with everything. Thomas sat down. How many lives? I'm sorry. How many lives would he have destroyed if he'd run, if nobody stopped him? We can't know that. Guess. Ross sighed. Based on his pattern, dozens. Maybe hundreds over a lifetime. Then I guess 22 minutes saved more than just my dignity. Mr. Johnson, you saved this entire community, whether they know it yet or not. That afternoon, Linda called Thomas. Her voice was different, stronger. Mr. Johnson, I need to tell you something. What is it, Linda? I'm testifying. At Doyle's trial. I'm going to stand up in court and tell them exactly what I saw. Linda, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I've spent 3 days thinking about it. About all the times I saw him hurt people and said nothing. About all the times I was too scared to speak up. Her voice cracked. I'm done being scared. Are you sure? I'm sure, because you weren't scared. An 81-year-old man wasn't scared. So how can I be... Fear's not weakness, Linda. Maybe not, but silence is, and I'm done being silent. An hour later, George called. Said the same thing. He was testifying too. Then Miguel, then Earl, then Officer Cross. One by one, everyone who'd been in that diner, everyone who'd witnessed what happened, called to say they were ready to fight. Marcus listened as his father took each call. Watched the weight lift slightly from his shoulders with each promise of support. You built an army, Dad. I didn't build anything. I just showed them it was possible to stand up. Same thing. No, building takes effort. I just refused to fall down. 3 days before Doyle's preliminary hearing, Thomas received a letter, hand-delivered, no return address. Inside a single page, handwritten. Mr. Johnson, you don't know me, but I need you to know something. Officer Doyle killed my son 5 years ago. They ruled it suicide, but it wasn't. My boy was scared of Doyle. Told me so 2 days before he died. I tried to investigate. They shut me down, called me a conspiracy theorist. Grieving mother, who couldn't accept the truth. But I knew. I always knew. And now because of you, they're reopening the case. They're investigating. They're finally listening. Thank you for giving my son a voice when nobody else would. Patricia Williams. Thomas's hands shook. He read it again. Then again. Marcus, his son, appeared. What's wrong? Thomas handed him the letter. Marcus read. His face went pale. Oh, God. We need to call Ross, now. Ross arrived within the hour. Thomas gave her the letter. She read it, closed her eyes. Jason Williams, 18 years old, found hanging in his garage, ruled suicide. You know the case? It's in Grayson's files. He mentioned it last night. Said Doyle confessed to him once when he was drunk. Said the kid disrespected him. Doyle beat him. Then staged it to look like suicide. Thomas couldn't breathe. And nobody investigated. Briggs closed it in 48 hours. Parents tried to fight it. Briggs threatened them. They backed down. Can you prove it? With Grayson's testimony, yes. And if we reopen the case, if we exhume the body... She paused. We can prove it wasn't suicide. Marcus stood, paced. So Doyle's not just a dirty cop, he's a murderer. We believe so, and there might be others. Thomas's voice came out raw. "How many?" "We're looking into 3 suspicious deaths. All young men, all minorities. All ruled suicide or accident, all with Doyle nearby when it happened." "Jesus Christ," Ross knelt in front of Thomas. "Mr. Johnson, this is going to get worse before it gets better. The media is going to explode. Doyle's lawyers are going to fight hard. And you're going to be at the center of all of it. I don't care. You should, because they're going to try to destroy you. They're going to dig into your past. Find any mistake you ever made. Use it against you. Let them dig. I've got nothing to hide." "Everyone's got something." Thomas met her eyes. "Then let them find it, because that boy deserves justice. And if putting my life under a microscope is what it takes, so be it." Almost 9 minutes in, mini climax. That evening, Clara showed up with her laptop. "You need to see this." She pulled up a website. Anonymous. Dark web. "What is this Someone leaked Doyle's personnel file. Everything. 20 years of complaints, all buried, all resolved internally." She scrolled. Each entry worse than the last. Excessive force, racial profiling, evidence tampering, witness intimidation, complaint after complaint, year after year, always the same result, no action taken. "How many?" Marcus asked. Clara checked. 87 formal complaints. Only 3 resulted in any discipline. 2 were verbal warnings. 1 was a 1-day suspension. 87, Thomas whispered. "And those are just the official ones, the ones people were brave enough to file." Thomas stood, walked to the window. The news vans were still there. More now. 15 at least. "They need to know," he said. "Know what?" Clara asked. "Everything. All of it. No more buried files. No more sealed records. Everything out in the open." "Thomas, that's going to create chaos." "Good. Let there be chaos. Let people see exactly what's been happening in their own town while they look the other way." Marcus touched his father's shoulder. "Dad, if we release this, if we go public with everything, there's no taking it back." "I don't want to take it back." Clara closed her laptop. "If we do this, we do it right. Full document dump. Every file, every complaint, every piece of evidence we have. When? Tomorrow, before Doyle's hearing. So when he stands in front of that judge, the whole world knows exactly who he is." Thomas nodded. "Do it." The next morning, Clara's article went live. Every major news outlet picked it up within an hour. The headline, "Officer Doyle, 87 complaints, 0 accountability." The article detailed everything. Names, dates, complaints, the systematic cover-up by Briggs and the department. By noon, the story had gone nuclear. Protests erupted outside the police station. National civil rights leaders descended on Edgewater. The governor issued a statement promising a full investigation, and at 2 p.m. Doyle was brought into court for his preliminary hearing. Thomas sat in the front row. Marcus beside him. Clara, Linda, George, Miguel, Earl, and Officer Cross filled the rest of the row. Doyle walked in. Orange jumpsuit, shackles, face gaunt, eyes hollow. He saw Thomas, looked away quickly. The judge entered. Everyone stood. "Please be seated. We're here for the preliminary hearing of Rick Doyle charged with assault civil rights violations and obstruction of justice." Doyle's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we move to dismiss." "Sit down, counselor. I've read the evidence. This case is moving forward." The lawyer sat. The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor, we have new evidence. Evidence that changes the nature of these charges significantly." "Explain." "We have testimony from Charles Grayson indicating that Officer Doyle may be responsible for the death of Jason Williams in 2019. We're requesting permission to add murder charges." The courtroom erupted. Reporters shouted questions. The judge hammered his gavel. "Order, order." Doyle went white. His lawyer leaned over, whispered frantically. The judge looked at the prosecutor. "You have evidence to support this." "We do, and we believe there may be additional victims." The judge turned to Doyle. "Mr. Doyle, do you understand the severity of these allegations?" Doyle opened his mouth. Nothing came out. His lawyer answered, "Your Honor, we request time to review this new evidence." Request denied. Given the nature of these charges, bail is revoked. Mr. Doyle will remain in custody pending trial. The gavel struck. Doyle's face crumbled. As guards led him away, he looked back at Thomas one last time. Thomas stared back, didn't blink, didn't smile, just watched as the man who'd slapped him was led away in chains. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Thomas pushed through them. said nothing, but Clara stopped, faced the cameras. Justice isn't just about one slap in a diner. It's about exposing a system that allowed that slap to happen, that allowed 87 complaints to be buried, that allowed young men to die and their deaths to be covered up. Today, that system started to fall, and it fell because one man refused to stay silent. She looked at Thomas. He'd stopped, was listening. Mr. Johnson didn't ask to be a symbol. He just asked to be treated with dignity. And when he was denied that dignity, he fought back. Not with violence, not with anger, but with truth. And truth is the most powerful weapon we have. That night, Thomas couldn't sleep. He sat on his porch, stars overhead, cool air on his face. Patricia Williams's letter was in his pocket. He'd read it 20 times. Marcus came out, sat beside him. "You did it, Dad." "Did what?" "Changed everything." "I didn't change anything. I just survived long enough for help to arrive." "That's not true, and you know it." Thomas pulled out the letter, handed it to Marcus. "Read it again." Marcus did. "This is why we're doing this. This is why I can't stop. Because if I stop, if I let them plead out or cut deals or make this go away quietly, then Jason Williams died for nothing, and so did everyone else Doyle hurt. So we keep fighting. Until it's done. Until every victim has justice. Until every corrupt cop is exposed. Until this town is clean." Marcus folded the letter, handed it back. "That could take years." "Then it takes years." "Dad, you're 81. And I survived Vietnam. I survived 60 years in a country that didn't always want me. I think I can survive seeing this through." They sat in silence. Then Thomas spoke again. "I keep thinking about that morning, in the diner, before Doyle walked in." "What about it?" "I was thinking about how quiet it was, how normal, like any other day." He paused. "And I remember thinking, I'm too old for trouble, too tired to fight. I just want my coffee and my peace." "And then trouble found you anyway." "Yeah. And I realized something." "What?" "You can't choose when justice calls. You can only choose whether you answer." Marcus's eyes filled. "You answered, Dad." "We all did. Me, you, Linda, George, Miguel, every person who stood up, we all answered." Thomas looked at his son. "And we're going to keep answering, until the call stops coming." Inside, Thomas's phone rang. Another victim, another call for help, another person ready to add their voice to the chorus demanding justice. Thomas stood. "I better get that. Dad, it's almost midnight. If they're brave enough to call, I'm brave enough to answer." He went inside, picked up the phone. "This is Thomas Johnson." And he listened. Because that's what heroes do. They listen, they stand up, they refuse to back down, even when they're tired, even when they're scared, even when it would be easier to stay silent. They answer the call every single time, because 22 minutes was just the beginning. The real fight, the one that mattered, was just getting started. And Thomas Johnson wasn't about to stop now. Not when so many people were counting on him. Not when justice was finally within reach. Not until every last victim had their day in court. And not until the system that protected men like Doyle was torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. It would take time. It would take sacrifice. It would take everything he had left. But Thomas Johnson had spent his whole life giving everything. Why stop now? The call came from a woman named Sarah Mitchell, 24 years old, voice shaking so hard Thomas could barely understand her. "Mr. Johnson, I don't know if you remember me. I worked at the grocery store. 5 years ago, Doyle pulled me over for a broken taillight." Thomas sat down. "What happened?" He said. Her breath hitched. "He said he could make the ticket disappear if I was nice to him." "Did he hurt you?" I said no. I drove away, but he followed me for weeks, everywhere I went, the store, my apartment. He'd just sit in his car, watching. "Did you report it?" "To who he was, the police. So I left town, moved 3 states away, changed my name, started over." She was crying now. "But I saw the news, saw what he did to you, and I thought maybe now someone will believe me." "I believe you. You don't even know me. I don't need to. I know him." Sarah sobbed. "I'm scared to come back, to testify. What if nothing? You come back, you tell the truth, and we make sure he can never hurt anyone again." "Will you be there, in court?" Every single day. After she hung up, Thomas sat in the dark. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Another one. Another one. How many does that make? 53 that we know of. Marcus leaned against the doorframe. Dad, you can't take every call. You need to sleep. I'll sleep when this is over. It's never going to be over. Not really. There will always be another victim, another story. Thomas looked at his son. Then I guess I'll never sleep. Dad? 22 minutes. That's what I asked for. 22 minutes and my son would come. His voice cracked. These people don't have 22 minutes. They don't have sons in the army. They just have fear. And if I can take some of that fear away by answering the phone, then I'm answering the phone. Da? Marcus said nothing, just nodded, because there was nothing to say. His father was right. The next morning, Attorney Ross called an emergency meeting. Thomas, Marcus, Clara, and the core witnesses gathered in a federal conference room. Ross's face was grim. We have a problem. What kind of problem? Clara asked. Doyle's legal team is good, really good. They're claiming the video was edited, that Thomas provoked the assault. They're filing motions to suppress evidence. That's insane, Marcus started. It's strategy, and it's working. The judge is considering allowing their digital forensics expert to testify. Testify about what? Thomas asked. About whether the video Miguel shot was manipulated. Miguel's face went white. I didn't touch it. I swear. We know that. But they're going to claim you did. They're going to plant doubt. George slammed his fist on the table. We were there. All of us. We saw it happen. Eyewitness testimony is strong. But in this political climate with this much media attention, the defense is going to argue you're all biased, that you're looking for your 15 minutes of fame. Linda's voice shook. That's not true. I know it's not, but they're going to say it anyway. Thomas spoke quietly. What do we need to do? We need irrefutable evidence. The video is good, but we need more. Ross pulled out a file. We need Doyle to confess. The room went silent. How do we get that? Marcus asked. We don't, but Earl might. Everyone turned to Earl. He shifted in his seat. What do you mean? You were part of his crew. He trusts you, or trusted you. Not anymore. After I testified, exactly, you betrayed him, which means he's angry at you, and angry people make mistakes. Earl's eyes narrowed. You want me to wear a wire? I want you to visit him, in jail, get him talking, see if he slips up. That's insane. He'll know something's up. Maybe, but you're the only one he might actually talk to, the only one who was on his side. Earl looked at Thomas. What do you think? Thomas met his gaze. I think it's dangerous. I think Doyle's smart enough to know you're playing him, and I think if you do this, there's no going back. You'll be marked forever. I'm already marked. Not like this. This is different. Earl stood, paced. If I do this, if I get him to confess, does that end it? Does that put him away for good? It helps. Combined with everything else, it could be the final nail. Then I'll do it. Earl, Thomas started. I'm done being scared, Mr. Johnson. You taught me that. You sat in that diner bleeding and you weren't scared. So how can I be... Thomas smiled slightly. I was terrified. Then you hit it better than anyone I've ever seen. 2 days later, Earl walked into the county jail. Visitor's pass clipped to his shirt. Wire taped to his chest. Heart pounding so hard he thought everyone could hear it. The guard led him to a small room. Metal table, 2 chairs. Camera in the corner they'd been told it was broken. It wasn't. Federal agents were watching every second. Doyle was brought in, shackled, face harder than Earl remembered. They sat. Doyle spoke first. Didn't think I'd see you again. Yeah, well, here I am. Come to gloat. Come to talk. About what? About how we got here. Doyle laughed. Sharp, mean. We got here because you turned rat. I got here because I got tired of covering for you, rooting for you. Covering for me, I made you. You were nothing before you joined my crew. I was a soldier before I met you. I had honor. Honor? Doyle leaned forward. Honor doesn't pay bills. Honor doesn't keep you safe. Neither does beating up old men. Doyle's jaw clenched. That old man disrespected me. He drank coffee? That's all he did. He talked back? Thought he was better than me. He was better than you. Doyle's hand slammed the table. Guard shifted by the door. Nobody's better than me. Not some old... He stopped, caught himself. Earl pushed. Say it. Finish what you were going to say. I don't have to say anything to you. You already said plenty. You've been saying it for 20 years. Every time you pulled over someone for driving while black. Every time you planted evidence. Every time you made some kid disappear. Doyle went still. What did you just say? Jason Williams. You remember him? I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. 18 years old, found hanging in his garage. You told Grayson you did it when you were drunk, said the kid needed to learn his place. Doyle's face flushed. That's who told you that. Grayson. He's talking, giving up everyone, including you. He's lying. Is he because they're exhuming the body? They're going to prove it wasn't suicide. And when they do, you're not looking at assault charges, you're looking at murder. Doyle stood, chair scraped. This conversation is over. Sit down, we're not done. I said we're done. You killed that boy, admit it. I didn't kill anyone. Then how'd he die? Doyle stopped, breathing hard. He wouldn't shut up, kept running his mouth, saying I couldn't touch him, saying his mama would sue, saying... He caught himself again, sat down slowly. Earl's pulse raced. Saying what? Nothing. I never said any of this. But you did. Just now. You told me he was running his mouth, which means you were there, which means... Shut up, Doyle's voice echoed. You're trying to trap me. This whole thing you're wearing a wire, aren't you? Earl said nothing. You son of a bitch! You're wearing a wire? The guard moved forward. Visit's over. Doyle lunged across the table, got one hand on Earl's collar before the guard pulled him back. You're dead, you hear me? You're dead. They dragged Doyle away, still screaming, still threatening. Earl sat frozen, heart hammering, hand shaking. The door opened. Attorney Ross walked in. You got it. Earl nodded, couldn't speak. He confessed? Not to murder directly, but enough? Combined with Grayson's testimony, she smiled. We've got him. That evening, Thomas got another call, this time from a number he recognized. Patricia Williams, Jason's mother. Mr. Johnson, they're digging up my boy's grave tomorrow. Thomas closed his eyes. I heard. I don't know if I can watch. You don't have to. Nobody expects. But I need to. I need to see. I need to know. Her voice broke. I need to know. My baby didn't kill himself. That I wasn't crazy all these years. You weren't crazy. Everyone said I was. The police, my family, even my husband stopped believing me after a while, said I needed to let it go, move on. And you couldn't. How could I? He was my son, and I knew a mother knows something was wrong. Thomas heard her crying, heard the 5 years of grief and anger and helplessness. Mrs. Williams, I can't promise you this will bring Jason back, but I can promise you that when they dig up that grave, when they prove what happened, your son's name will be cleared, and Doyle will pay. Shh. Will you be there tomorrow? Where? At the cemetery, when they exhume him. I don't want to be alone. Thomas looked at Marcus. His son nodded. I'll be there. We both will. The exhumation happened at dawn. Gray sky, cold morning. Small cemetery on the edge of town. Thomas and Marcus arrived to find Patricia Williams standing by the grave. Small woman. Thin. Looked like she'd aged 20 years in 5. Mrs. Williams. She turned, fell into Thomas's arms, sobbed. I thought this day would never come. It's here now. The medical examiner's team arrived, set up equipment, started the process. It took 2 hours. Patricia never looked away, never flinched, just stood there hand-gripping Thomas's arm. When they finally opened the casket, the medical examiner spent 40 minutes examining the remains. Then he stood, walked over to Attorney Ross, spoke quietly. Ross nodded, came to Patricia. Mrs. Williams, I'm so sorry, but your son didn't kill himself. Patricia's knees buckled. Thomas caught her. The injuries are inconsistent with hanging. There's evidence of trauma to the neck manual strangulation and defensive wounds on his hands. He fought back. Patricia screamed. A sound Thomas would never forget, pure anguish and vindication mixed together. He fought back, she repeated. My baby fought back. Ross continued gently. We're ruling this a homicide, and we're charging Officer Doyle with first-degree murder. Patricia looked at Thomas. You did this. You made them listen. No, ma'am, you did this. You never stopped believing. You never gave up. But you gave me hope. After 5 years, you gave me hope. Marcus had tears running down his face. Even Ross looked shaken. They stood at that grave for another hour, saying goodbye to a boy who'd been silenced, but whose voice was finally being heard. News of the murder charge spread instantly. Every outlet covered it. Protests outside the jail intensified. Doyle's supporters, what few remained, went silent. That night, Briggs called Thomas from jail. Thomas almost didn't answer. "What do you want?" "I want you to know I'm sorry." Thomas said nothing. "I mean it. I'm sorry for everything. For protecting Doyle. For burying complaints. For..." His voice cracked. "For that boy. For Jason Williams. I knew something was wrong with that case, and I closed it anyway." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I'm going to die in here. I'm 63. I'm looking at 40 years minimum. I'll be dead before I get out." "Good." Briggs was quiet. Then, "You're right. I deserve it. But I need you to know I didn't start out like this. I was a good cop once. I believed in the job." "What happened?" "I got tired. Tired of fighting a system that didn't care. Tired of watching criminals walk because of technicalities. Tired of being paid nothing while everyone around me got rich." He paused. "So I made a choice. I decided to look the other way. Just once. Just one time. And then it got easier." "Yeah, it got easier. Until looking the other way was all I did." "Why are you calling me?" "Because you're the opposite of me. You never looked away. Even when it cost you. Even when it hurt. And I need you to know that what you did standing up to Doyle, it didn't just stop him. It stopped me too. It stopped all of us." Thomas hung up without responding. Marcus had been listening. "You think he meant it, the apology. Doesn't matter if he meant it. He said it because he wants forgiveness. Wants to feel better about himself before he dies in a cell. And you won't give it to him." "I can't give what I don't have. Forgiveness belongs to his victims, not me." The trial started 3 weeks later. Massive media coverage, cameras everywhere, security tight. Thomas sat in the front row every single day. Same seat, Marcus beside him. Behind them, the other victims. 53 people. All there to watch justice happen. Doyle was brought in, looked smaller somehow, broken. The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor." "The state calls Thomas Johnson." Thomas walked to the stand, raised his right hand, swore to tell the truth, sat down, looked directly at Doyle. The prosecutor approached. "Mr. Johnson, can you describe what happened on the morning of March 15th? Thomas told it all, every detail, every word. The room was silent except for his voice. When he got to the slap, Patricia Williams gasped. Others cried. "And what did you do after he hit you?" "I told him he had 22 minutes. 22 minutes for what?" "For my son to arrive. For justice to come." "Were you afraid?" "Terrified." "Then why didn't you leave?" Thomas looked at the jury. "Because if I left, he won, and I was tired of men like him winning." "Shim." The prosecutor nodded. No further questions. Doyle's lawyer stood. Expensive suit, slicked back hair, confident. "Mr. Johnson, isn't it true that you have a history of confrontation with police?" "No." "No, so you've never been pulled over." "I've been pulled over. That's not confrontation. That's breathing while black." Some jury members nodded. The lawyer's jaw tightened. "Isn't it true you instigated the conflict with my client?" "I drank coffee. That's all I did." "You spoke disrespectfully." "I spoke honestly." "You provoked him." "I existed." Apparently that was provocation enough. The lawyer's face reddened. "Your Honor." The judge waved him off. "Continue." "Mr. Johnson, how much money have you made from this incident, book deals, movie rights?" Thomas leaned forward. $0. I didn't ask for this. I asked for coffee. Your client gave me blood." The courtroom erupted in applause. The judge hammered his gavel. "Order." The lawyer tried a few more questions. Each one made things worse. Finally gave up. No further questions. Thomas stepped down, walked back to his seat. Patricia reached out, squeezed his hand. "You did good," she whispered. On day 3 of the trial, the prosecution called Earl. He walked to the stand, didn't look at Doyle. The prosecutor played the jail recording. Earl's voice, Doyle's confession. "He wouldn't shut up, kept running his mouth." The jury leaned forward. Several gasped when they heard Doyle admit to being there when Jason died. After the recording, the prosecutor asked, "Mr. Carter, why did you agree to wear a wire?" Earl looked at Thomas. "Because a man I respected showed me what courage looks like, and I wanted to have some of my own." "You risked your life doing this." "I risked my soul not doing it sooner." The defense tried to tear him apart, called him a criminal, a liar, a traitor. Earl sat through it all, never flinched. "Mr. Carter, you're testifying in exchange for immunity, correct?" "Yes." "So you're saving your own skin?" "No, I'm trying to grow a spine." That got another round of applause, another gavel. When Earl stepped down, he walked past Doyle. Their eyes met. Doyle whispered, "You're dead." Earl whispered back, "No, you are." On day 5, Miguel testified, brought his phone, showed the original video file. Metadata intact. No edits. "This is exactly what I filmed. Nothing added, nothing removed." The defense's digital expert tried to claim manipulation. Miguel destroyed him. "I'm 16. I don't even know how to use Photoshop. You think I can fake metadata?" Laughter from the gallery. Linda testified, cried on the stand. "I watched him throw that cap on the ground, watched him slap a man old enough to be his grandfather, and I'll never forget it." George testified. "Mr. Johnson saved my brother's life in Vietnam, and 50 years later some punk cop thought he could spit on that sacrifice." Officer Cross testified, brought his recordings, Briggs threatening him. The corruption laid bare. By day 7, the defense had nothing left. Their case had crumbled. The prosecutor gave closing arguments. "Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't complicated. A cop abused his power, hurt an innocent man, killed a teenager, and covered it all up for years. The evidence is overwhelming. The testimony is clear. Your job is simple. Hold him accountable." The defense's closing was desperate. "My client made mistakes, but mistakes aren't crimes. He was doing his job." "His job was murder," someone shouted from the gallery. The judge cleared the room, made them start over. But the damage was done. Everyone could see it. The jury, the media, the world. Doyle was finished. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Thomas waited in the hallway. Couldn't sit. Couldn't stand still. Marcus paced beside him. "They're taking too long." 3 hours isn't long. "Feels long." Clara brought coffee. "Here, you need to drink something." Thomas took it. Didn't drink, just held it. Warmth in his hands. Patricia sat on a bench, staring at nothing, waiting to hear if her son's death would be avenged. At 4:17 p.m., the bailiff appeared. "Jury's back?" Everyone filed in. Doyle was brought to his table, wouldn't look at anyone. The judge entered. "Has the jury reached a verdict?" "We have, Your Honor." "Please read it." The forewoman stood. "On the count of assault and battery, we find the defendant guilty." Patricia gasped. "On the count of civil rights violations, guilty." Linda started crying. "On the count of first-degree murder in the death of Jason Williams, guilty." Patricia screamed. Collapsed. Thomas caught her. Held her while she sobbed. The courtroom erupted. Cheers, tears, applause. The judge hammered his gavel. "Order, I will have order." It took 10 minutes to calm everyone down. The judge turned to Doyle. "Mr. Doyle, you have been found guilty on all counts. Sentencing will take place in 2 weeks. Until then, you will remain in custody. Bailiff, remove the defendant." As they led Doyle away, he looked back one last time. Not at his lawyer, not at his family, at Thomas. Thomas met his eyes, didn't smile, didn't gloat, just watched as the man who'd slapped him was led away forever. Outside the courthouse, Thomas stood at the microphone. Cameras everywhere. Questions shouted from all directions. He raised one hand. Silence fell. 5 weeks ago, I went to a diner for coffee. I got blood instead, but today I got justice. Not just for me, for Jason Williams, for Maria Reynolds, for every person Officer Doyle hurt over 20 years. This verdict says that no one, cop or not, is above the law. This verdict says that truth matters, that dignity matters, that black lives matter. His voice strengthened. "Some people asked why I didn't just let it go, take a settlement, move on quietly, and I'll tell you why. Because silence is how men like Doyle survive. Silence is how systems stay corrupt. Silence is how evil wins. And I'm done being silent." He looked directly at the camera. "To everyone watching, everyone who's ever been hurt by someone with power, I want you to know something. You are not alone. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. And if you speak up, even if it's scary, even if it's hard, There are people who will stand with you. I'm proof of that." Thomas paused. 22 minutes. That's all it took for my son to arrive. But it took 5 weeks to get justice. It took 53 victims finding their courage. It took an entire community saying enough. Don't wait for someone to save you. Save yourself. Speak up. Stand up. And if you need help, he looked at the crowd around him. Look around. Help is everywhere. You just have to reach for it. Shulm. He stepped away from the microphone. Marcus hugged him. Patricia hugged him. Linda, George, Miguel, Earl. Clara, everyone hugged him. And Thomas, 81 years old, tired, hurting, but unbowed, hugged them all back. Because they'd done it. Together. They'd torn down a system that seemed untouchable. And they'd done it by refusing to stay silent. By counting down 22 minutes. And trusting that help would come. It did. And justice, real justice, followed. The celebration outside the courthouse lasted until dark. People Thomas had never met came up to shake his hand. Thank him. Tell him their own stories of injustice they'd never reported. Marcus finally pulled him away. "Dad, you need to rest." "I'm fine." "You're exhausted. I can see it." Thomas looked at his son. "I can rest later. Right now, these people need to be heard. They'll still be here tomorrow. Maybe. Or maybe they'll lose their courage. Maybe they'll go home and decide it's too hard." Thomas gripped Marcus's arm. "Right now, they're brave. Right now, they believe change is possible. I'm not walking away from that." So he stayed, listened to story after story, until his voice was hoarse and his legs ached, and Marcus practically carried him to the car. At home, Thomas collapsed into his chair, closed his eyes. "You did good today, Dad." "We did good, all of us." Marcus's phone buzzed. He read the message. Face changed. "What?" "It's from the Pentagon. They want to move up the Medal of Honor ceremony. Want to do it next week instead of next month." "Why the rush?" "Because of the trial, because of the publicity. They want to," Marcus paused, "they want to capitalize on the moment." Thomas opened his eyes. "They want to make themselves look good." "Yeah." "Tell them no." "Dad?" "I said no. I don't want that medal if it's just a photo opportunity. I earned it 50 years ago. I can wait another month." Marcus texted back, set down his phone. "They're not going to be happy." "Let them be unhappy. I've been unhappy for 50 years. Their turn." That night, Thomas couldn't sleep again. His mind kept replaying the trial. Doyle's face when the verdict was read. Patricia's scream of relief. The weight of 53 victims finally getting justice. His phone rang. 2 a.m., unknown number. Hello, heavy breathing. Then a voice, muffled. "You made a big mistake, old man." Thomas's chest tightened. "Who is this?" "Someone who knows where you live, where your son lives, where all your little friends live." "If you're trying to scare me." "I'm not trying, I'm promising. Doyle's got friends, and they don't forget." The line went dead. Thomas sat in the dark, hand trembling. Marcus appeared. "Dad, I heard your phone. Who was it?" "Nobody." "Don't lie to me." Thomas told him. Marcus's face went hard. "We're calling Ross, now." "It's probably just some crank." Dad Doyle was just convicted of murder. His people are desperate. This is exactly when they're most dangerous. Attorney Ross arrived within the hour, brought 2 federal agents with her. "Mr. Johnson, I need you to take this seriously." "I am taking it seriously." "Are you? Because you're sitting here in your house with no security. Anyone could walk up to your door." "So what do you want me to do, Hyde?" "I want you to accept protective custody for a few weeks until things settle down." "No." "Mr. Johnson, I didn't spend 5 weeks fighting for my right to exist freely just to lock myself in a box because some coward made a phone call." Ross looked at Marcus. "Can you talk some sense into him?" "I've been trying for 81 years. Hasn't worked yet." "Then we're stationing agents outside your house, 24/7. You don't get a choice about that." Thomas started to argue, saw the look on her face, nodded. "Fine, but they stay outside. I'm not having strangers in my house." After Ross left, Marcus sat beside his father. "You're being stubborn. I'm being consistent. There's a difference between brave and reckless." "Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, they look the same." The next morning, Thomas woke to find a black SUV parked in his driveway. 2 agents inside, another SUV at the end of the street. He made coffee, brought 2 cups outside, knocked on the SUV window. The agent rolled it down. "Mr. Johnson?" "Figured you might want some coffee." The agent smiled. "That's kind of you, sir." What's your name? Agent Rivera. You ex-military Rivera. Marines. 2 tours. Thomas nodded. Then you understand why I can't hide. Rivera took the coffee. I understand why you won't. There's a difference. Everyone keeps telling me that. Because it's true. Brave is standing up when you need to. Reckless is standing up when you don't have to, just to prove a point. And which one am I? Rivera looked at him. Honestly, I think you're both, and I think that's what makes you dangerous. To who? To everyone who thought they could keep doing what they've been doing. Thomas smiled. Good. He went back inside. Marcus was on the phone, face tense. Okay, yeah, we'll be there. Thanks. He hung up. What was that? Clara, she wants to meet. Says she's got something important. What kind of something? She wouldn't say over the phone, just said we need to see it in person. They met Clara at a coffee shop across town. She had her laptop out, files spread across the table. You need to see this. She turned the laptop, showed them an email. This came to me this morning, anonymous sender, but the information checks out. Thomas read. His stomach dropped. The email detailed payments. Large payments. From a shell company to various police departments across the state, including Edgewater. What is this? Marcus asked. It's a protection racket, but bigger than we thought. Doyle wasn't just a dirty cop, he was part of an organized system, multiple departments, multiple towns, all getting paid to look the other way. Look the other way from what? Clara pulled up another file. Drug trafficking, human trafficking, money laundering, pick your crime. This organization has been operating for at least a decade. Thomas leaned back. And you're telling me Doyle was just one piece? I'm telling you he was a small piece. There are dozens more just like him, cops taking money to let criminals operate freely. Does Ross know about this? She does now. I sent it to her an hour ago. She's meeting with her task force right now. Marcus shook his head. Dad, this is bigger than we thought. If these people are as organized as Clara says, then they're more dangerous than one dirty cop. I get it. Do you? Because they're going to fight back, hard, and you're the face of the movement that exposed them. Thomas looked at his son. Then I guess I better get ready for a fight. That afternoon, Thomas received a visitor he didn't expect. A man in an expensive suit, government credentials. Mr. Johnson, my name is Deputy Director Morris, FBI. Thomas let him in. Marcus stood nearby, arms crossed. Morris sat, opened a briefcase. I'm going to be direct. We want your help. Help with what? With taking down the rest of this organization. You've become a symbol. People trust you. We need you to be the face of a larger investigation. What kind of investigation? Morris pulled out documents. We've been tracking this criminal network for 3 years. Made little progress because no one would talk. Witnesses disappeared. Evidence vanished. But your case, your willingness to stand up publicly, it's changed everything. People are coming forward, calling our hotline, ready to testify. And you want me to what make speeches do interviews. I want you to do exactly what you've been doing. Tell your story. Encourage others to tell theirs. Help us build cases that stick. Thomas looked at the documents. Names he recognized. Names he didn't. A web of corruption spanning the entire state. How long would this take? Months, maybe years. These cases are complex. I'm 81 years old. I might not have years. Which is why we need to move fast. Morris leaned forward. Mr. Johnson, we're offering you a chance to finish what you started. To make sure Doyle wasn't just one conviction. To tear down the entire system. And if I say no, then we keep working. But it'll be harder, slower, and some of these people will slip through the cracks. Thomas looked at Marcus. What do you think? I think you've already decided. Have I? Yeah, you're going to say yes, because you can't help yourself. Thomas smiled, turned to Morris. I'll do it, on one condition. Name it. Every victim who comes forward gets protection, real protection, not just an agent parked outside. I want them safe. I want their families safe. Done. And I want regular updates. I want to know what's happening, who's being arrested, who's being charged. We can do that. And one more thing. What's that? When this is over, when we've taken down everyone we can, I want you to remember something. What? That it took an 81-year-old man getting slapped in a diner to make you do your job, and that should embarrass you. Morris's face reddened, but he nodded. It does, Mr. Johnson. It absolutely does. Over the next 2 weeks, Thomas became busier than he'd ever been. Meetings with FBI, interviews with more news outlets, calls with victims from other towns. Clara coordinated everything, made schedules, vetted requests, protected Thomas from the worst of the media circus. Miguel helped too, managed social media, posted updates, kept people engaged. The movement was growing. What started in Edgewater was spreading. Protests in other towns, demands for investigations, calls for reform, and Thomas was at the center of it all. One afternoon, Marcus found his father asleep at the kitchen table, papers scattered around him, coffee gone cold. "Dad, wake up." Thomas jerked awake. What happened?" "Nothing happened. You fell asleep, again. Dad, you can't keep doing this." "Doing what?" "Burning yourself out. You're running on no sleep, barely eating." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're 71 years old, 81, and you're trying to take down an entire criminal organization by yourself." "I'm not by myself. I've got you, Clara, the FBI. We can't do this if you collapse. You understand that you're important, but you're not invincible." Thomas rubbed his face. "I know. I keep thinking about all those people, all those victims who stayed silent because they didn't think anyone would believe them. And now they're calling. Every day, more and more. And I can't," his voice cracked, "I can't let them down." Marcus pulled up a chair, sat across from his father. "You're not letting anyone down, but you need to take care of yourself, because if you burn out, if something happens to you, then what? Who keeps fighting?" "You do. I will. But they don't want me. They want you, so you need to pace yourself." Thomas nodded slowly. "Okay, you're right. I'll slow down." "Promise?" "Promise." It was a promise Thomas would try to keep, and fail, because 2 hours later another victim called, and Thomas answered, because that's who he was. The sentencing hearing for Doyle happened on a Tuesday, 3 weeks after the verdict. Thomas sat in the same front row seat, same people around him. Doyle was brought in, looked thinner, grayer, defeated. The judge entered. "We're here for sentencing in the matter of the state versus Rick Doyle. Mr. Doyle, you've been convicted of assault, civil rights violations, and first-degree murder. Before I impose sentence, does anyone wish to speak?" Patricia Williams stood. "I do, Your Honor." She walked to the podium, hands shaking, but voice steady. "5 years ago, you took my son from me. You killed him. Then you made it look like suicide. You made me think I was crazy for believing anything different. You destroyed my marriage, my mental health, my life." Tears ran down her face. "But you didn't destroy my love for my son, and you didn't destroy my belief that truth matters. Today, justice is finally coming for what you did, and I hope you spend every day for the rest of your life thinking about the boy you murdered, about the mother you tortured, about all the people you hurt." She looked directly at Doyle. "I hope you never know peace again." She sat down. Others stood, one by one, victims sharing their stories. The courtroom filled with pain and anger and hope. Finally, the judge looked at Thomas. "Mr. Johnson, would you like to speak?" Thomas stood, walked to the podium, looked at Doyle. "I could tell you about the pain you caused me, about the humiliation, about the blood. But you already know that. You were there. What you don't know is what happened after, what you started." Thomas's voice strengthened. "You thought slapping an old man would be just another day for you, another victim who'd stay silent, another case that'd get buried. But you were wrong, because that slap woke something up. In me, in this community, in this country. People saw what you did and said enough. No more. Not one more victim, not one more buried case, not one more corrupt cop walking free." He paused. "So I want to thank you, Officer Doyle, because you showed everyone exactly what we're fighting against, and you united us in a way nothing else could." Thomas turned to the judge. "Your Honor, I don't care how many years you give him. It won't bring back Jason Williams. It won't undo the harm he caused, but it will send a message. That no one is above the law, that justice is possible, that victims matter." He sat down. The judge spoke. "Mr. Doyle, you abused your power. You hurt innocent people. You murdered a teenager, and you showed no remorse. You are a disgrace to the badge you wore and to the community you swore to protect. I hereby sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Jason Williams. Additionally, you will serve 25 years for assault and civil rights violations to run concurrently. You will spend the rest of your life behind bars. Bailiff removed the defendant." As they led Doyle away, he looked back one last time. Not at Thomas, at Patricia. Whispered, "I'm sorry." Patricia stared back, said nothing, because some things don't deserve forgiveness. Outside the courthouse, a crowd had gathered. Hundreds of people. Some Thomas knew, most he didn't. They cheered when he emerged, chanted his name. Thomas raised a hand. They quieted. Today, Rick Doyle was sentenced to life in prison. But this isn't about one man. This is about a system that protected him for 20 years. A system that's still protecting others just like him. Our work isn't done, it's just beginning. Someone in the crowd shouted, "What do we do? You speak up. When you see injustice, you call it out. When you see corruption, you report it. When you see someone being hurt, you stand up. You don't wait for someone else to fix it. You fix it yourself." Another voice, "What if we're scared?" Thomas smiled. "Then you're human. I was scared every single day, but I was more scared of staying silent. Fear is natural. Cowardice is a choice. Choose courage." The crowd erupted. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Clara pulled Thomas aside. "There's someone here to see you." "Who? Come on." She led him around the building, to a small parking lot. A military car waited. Door opened. A general stepped out, 3 stars on his shoulder. "Mr. Johnson?" "That's me." "General Hawkins, I'm here on behalf of the Department of Defense. We'd like to discuss your Medal of Honor ceremony." "I already told them next month." "I understand, but circumstances have changed. The president wants to present it himself at the White House with full honors." Thomas stared. "The president?" "Yes, sir. He's following your story, believes you represent the best of America, wants to honor you publicly." Marcus appeared, heard the conversation. "Dad, this is incredible." Thomas looked at the general. "I don't want a spectacle." "It won't be a spectacle. It'll be a ceremony, honoring your service, recognizing your courage." "When?" 2 weeks, if you will accept." Thomas looked at Marcus. "What do you think?" "I think you earned this 50 years ago, and it's about time they acknowledged it." Thomas turned back to the general. "I'll accept, on one condition." "Sir?" "Patricia Williams. Jason's mother. I want her there, front row. I want the president to meet her, to hear Jason's story." "Done. And I want every victim from Doyle's case there, all 53. They deserve to see this." "Mr. Johnson, that's a lot of people. Those people made this possible. Without them, I'd just be an old man who got slapped. They turned it into a movement, so either they're there or I'm not." The general nodded. "I'll make it happen." The next 2 weeks passed in a blur. More arrests, more investigations. The FBI task force working around the clock. 17 more cops arrested across 4 counties. 5 politicians, 9 business owners. The network was collapsing, and it was all because Thomas refused to stay silent. 1 week before the White House ceremony, Thomas received an unexpected call. "Mr. Johnson, this is Warden Phillips from the state prison." "Yes? Rick Doyle wants to speak with you." Thomas's hand tightened on the phone. "What?" "He's requesting a visit. Says he has something to tell you." "Tell him I'm not interested." "He says it's about other victims, cases we don't know about." Thomas closed his eyes. Whenever you're ready?" Thomas looked at Marcus. "Doyle wants to see me." "Absolutely not." "He says he has information about other victims." "Then he can tell the FBI." "Maybe, or maybe he'll only talk to me." "Dad, this is a trap. He wants to see you suffer." "Maybe, but what if he's telling the truth? What if there are more victims out there?" Marcus shook his head. "I'm coming with you. I wouldn't have it any other way." They drove to the prison the next day. Security, metal detectors, searches. Finally, they led Thomas to a small room. Glass partition, phone on each side. Doyle was brought in, sat down, picked up the phone. Thomas picked up his. "Why am I here?" Doyle's voice came through the speaker, thin, broken. "Because I need to tell you something." "Shit. So tell me." "There are 3 more, cases like Jason Williams, deaths I was involved in, deaths that were ruled accidents or suicides." Thomas's chest tightened. "Who?" Doyle named them. 2 young men, 1 woman. Details about how he killed them. Why? Thomas felt sick. "Why are you telling me this? Because I'm dying." "What?" "Cancer. Pancreatic. They give me 6 months, maybe less." "Good," Doyle flinched. "I deserve that. I know, but I can't die with this on my conscience. Those families deserve to know the truth." "You had 20 years to tell the truth." "I know, and I didn't, because I was a coward. But you Doyle's voice cracked. You showed me what courage looks like, and I want to die with at least one brave thing to my name. One brave thing doesn't erase 20 years of evil. I know, but it's all I've got. Thomas stared at the man who'd slapped him, who'd killed children, who'd destroyed lives. I'll tell the FBI. They'll investigate. If you're lying, I'm not lying. I'm done lying. Thomas hung up the phone, stood, walked out without looking back. In the car, Marcus asked, You believe him? Yeah, I do. Why? Because a dying man has nothing left to lose and nothing left to hide. The Medal of Honor ceremony was everything Thomas had never wanted and everything he needed. The White House, the Rose Garden, hundreds of guests, media everywhere. True to the general's word, all 53 victims were there. Front rows, Patricia Williams in the center. Thomas wore his dress uniform, Marcus beside him in his captain's dress uniform. The president spoke. Today we honor a man who embodies the best of America, a man who served his country in war, who faced injustice with dignity, who stood up when it would have been easier to stay silent. Thomas Johnson represents what we should all aspire to be: brave, honest, unbreakable. The president placed the medal around Thomas's neck. The audience stood, applauded. Thomas looked out at the crowd, saw Patricia crying, saw Linda and George holding hands, saw Miguel recording everything, saw Clara wiping her eyes, saw Earl standing tall in a suit finally looking like the soldier he used to be, saw his son beside him, pride shining in his face. The president stepped back. Mr. Johnson, would you like to say a few words? Thomas approached the microphone, looked at the medal on his chest, touched it. 50 years ago, I earned this medal by saving lives in a war. Today, I'm receiving it after fighting a different kind of war. A war against corruption, against injustice, against a system that valued power over people. He paused. But I didn't fight alone. Every person in these front rows, every victim who found their courage, they earned this medal too. Every journalist who exposed the truth, every FBI agent who built these cases, every citizen who protested and demanded change. This medal belongs to all of us. He looked directly at the camera, knowing millions were watching. To everyone who's ever been hurt by someone with power, who's ever been told to stay quiet, to move on, to forget, I want you to know something. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Your truth matters. And if you speak up, even if it's terrifying, even if it seems impossible, there are people who will stand with you. I'm proof of that. We're all proof of that. Thomas's voice strengthened. 5 weeks ago, I was just an old man drinking coffee. Today, I'm standing in the White House wearing a Medal of Honor. Not because I'm special, but because I refuse to accept that being slapped in a diner was just how things are. And if I can change the system, if we can change the system, then anyone can. He looked at Patricia. This medal is for Jason Williams, and for every victim who never got justice. We're getting it for them now. And we're not stopping until every last corrupt cop, every crooked politician, every enabler of injustice is held accountable. The crowd erupted. Standing ovation, tears, cheers. Marcus stepped forward, placed his hand on his father's shoulder, whispered, I'm proud of you, Dad. Thomas turned to his son. And I'm proud of you, for coming when I called, for standing beside me, for never letting me quit. I learned from the best. They embraced. Father and son, soldier and soldier. Two men who'd fought different battles but shared the same courage. 6 months later, Thomas sat on his porch, morning coffee in his hand, the same routine he'd had for 30 years. But everything was different now. The federal investigation had resulted in 73 arrests, 12 police departments under federal oversight, 28 politicians facing charges, a complete overhaul of how complaints were handled across the state. The 3 cases Doyle confessed to had been reopened. Families finally getting closure. Doyle died in prison 4 months into his sentence. No one mourned. Briggs pleaded guilty, got 40 years, would die behind bars. Grayson cooperated fully, got 25 years, lost everything, and Edgewater, the small town where it all started, had become a symbol, not of corruption, but of change, of what's possible when people refuse to stay silent. Marcus came out, sat beside his father. You know what today is? Tuesday. It's been 6 months, since the diner. Thomas sipped his coffee. Feels like yesterday, feels like a lifetime ago. Which is it? Both. They sat in comfortable silence. You ever regret it? Marcus asked. Going to that diner, not just letting it go. Thomas thought about it. Every day I wake up with nightmares. Doyle's hand coming at my face, the blood, the fear, the months of fighting. I wish none of it happened. But but I'm glad I didn't stay silent. Because of that slap, because of that one moment of violence, 73 criminals are behind bars. Hundreds of victims got justice, and a system that seemed untouchable came crashing down. Was it worth it? You tell me. You're the one who had to watch his father bleed. Marcus looked at his father, at the gray in his hair, the lines in his face, the strength that never wavered. Yeah, it was worth it. Thomas's phone rang. Another victim, another story, another person finding their courage. He answered, "This is Thomas Johnson." And he listened. Because that's what he did now. That's who he'd become. Not just a veteran, not just a victim, not just a symbol. He was the man who showed the world that 22 minutes of courage can change everything. That one person standing up can start an avalanche. That justice isn't something that just happens. It's something you fight for. Every single day. With everything you have. Thomas finished the call. Set down his phone. Picked up his coffee. Looked at his son. You know what the best part is? What's that? We're not done, not even close. There are more Doyles out there, more victims, more fights to win. And you're ready for them, Thomas smiled, touched the Medal of Honor hanging on his wall inside, thought about Patricia Williams, about Jason, about all 53 victims, about the hundreds more who'd found their voice. Yeah, I'm ready, because I finally understand something. What? That it only takes 22 minutes for help to arrive, but it takes a lifetime to build the courage to call for it. I spent 81 years learning how to ask for help, learning how to accept it, learning how to be part of something bigger than myself. Thomas looked at his son. And now that I've learned it, now that I know what's possible, I'm never going back to being silent, never going back to being invisible, never going back to accepting injustice as just the way things are. Marcus nodded. Good, because the world needs you, Dad, needs your voice, needs your courage. The world needs all of us. Every person who's willing to stand up, every person who's willing to fight, every person who believes that truth matters more than comfort. Thomas stood, walked to the edge of his porch, looked out at his street, at the town that had changed, at the world that was watching, and he made a promise, not just to himself, but to every victim who'd ever been silenced, every person who'd ever been afraid, every individual who'd ever wondered if speaking up would make a difference. The promise was simple: never again. Never again would he stay silent in the face of injustice. Never again would he accept that being treated with dignity was too much to ask. Never again would he let fear win. Because he'd learned the most important lesson of his 81 years, that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. It's standing up. When every instinct says to sit down, it's speaking when silence would be easier. And he'd learned one more thing. That 22 minutes, as those fateful 22 minutes he'd asked for in a blood-stained diner, weren't just about his son arriving. They were about hope arriving, about justice arriving, about the belief that things could change. And they did change. Not because of some grand plan, not because of powerful allies, not because the system suddenly decided to fix itself, but because one old man bleeding and afraid refused to accept that his dignity didn't matter. And in refusing to accept it, he changed everything. Thomas Johnson went back inside, hung his medal on the wall, poured another cup of coffee, and got ready for the next call. The next victim, the next fight. Because the war wasn't over. It would never be over. But for the first time in his life, Thomas knew he was on the winning side, and that made all the difference.